Hello, everyone. Thank you very much and welcome all here tonight for Access Code's Demo Day. I'm Jukay, the founder of Coalition for Queens. And I want to thank CME for hosting us in this beautiful space tonight. CME is an online community that connects artists from around the world. And they're a great example of a thriving tech company here in Queens. So thank you very much. A little about us, Coalition for Queens. We're a nonprofit that fosters the Queens tech ecosystem to increase economic opportunity and to transform the world's most diverse community into a leading hub of innovation entrepreneurship. We work with tech companies and entrepreneurs on events such as Startup Advisory Day and Queens Tech Meetup, which has grown to over 1,400 members this past year alone. We work with elected officials and community leaders on policy and advocacy initiatives, and we also have education programs to increase the tech community, get other people involved, programs such as tonight's Access Code. There's a thriving tech community here in Queens, with companies such as Songza and Shapeways here, and new startups such as Kimi Digital Natives. Cornell NIC Tech is also building a future campus on neighboring Roosevelt Island, and they'll have a wide impact on Western Queens. We believe the future is bright for tech in Queens and in New York City. There are, however, some challenges facing the growth of tech here in New York. Although there are over 900 tech companies currently hiring, only 1 out of 4 developer jobs right now are currently filled. From the entrepreneurs and companies that we talk to and we work with every day, the #1 constraint to growth is finding technical talent and developers to actually help these companies grow. Now, we see this hiring challenge as a tremendous opportunity. We created Access Code because we believe that everyone should have an opportunity to pursue a career in technology and become an entrepreneur. You don't need to graduate from MIT or Stanford to pursue a career in technology. We know that there are incredibly talented individuals and underserved communities here in Queens and across New York who would excel at these jobs and also create the companies of the future. Despite this enormous potential, there's still barriers for these communities to thrive in the tech industry. We've seen examples, such as at Queens College, which educates more computer science majors than anywhere else in the metropolitan area, but many of their graduates don't go into tech. There are also highly skilled immigrants who face challenges because of a lack of access to network and also lack of understanding of startup culture. There are courses and programs out there, but many of them are prohibitively expensive and don't serve the needs of the communities which we work with. Financial need and lack of access to network should never be an obstacle. So we're working here locally in Queens, but we believe our work has a broader impact, and we'll tackle the current trends in tech to make the community more inclusive. Across the United States, women are only comprised of 12% of the tech workforce. Hispanics and African Americans comprise only 7% of the workforce and only 1% of startup founders. Immigrants in New York own only 1.5% of tech companies. Compared to across the US, over 50% of tech companies are founded by immigrants. Within our home community of Queens, we can harness the tremendous potential of the wealth of diversity that exists here to create a tech community that's more reflective of New York City and our society. Doing this contributes new ideas and new experiences, and we believe will ultimately build better products, as well as use technology to solve problems that exist in these communities that may not be being addressed today. We want to empower people and communities by increasing access to tech education. Now, tonight's program and Access Code wouldn't be possible without the generous support of City Council Speaker Christine Quinn and her amazing staff. And we really want to thank them. We really want to thank them for believing in this and sharing this vision and providing the seed funding to start this program 1 year ago. You know, we're delighted that Speaker Quinn's Policy Director, Katie Cody, is here to join us tonight, and that and that she's able, and you know, we're really thankful. We couldn't do this without her, and we hope that, you know, we'll keep working with her and other community leaders here in New York to help grow this program. We'd also like to thank Natalie and Nepal from New York Designs, where we work, for providing the space for our students and for Access Code program to take place. Please give them a round of applause. This program also would not have been possible without Competition Thrive, which is an initiative to serve immigrant entrepreneurs here in New York. Their financial support has allowed us to create entrepreneurship training sessions for the immigrant entrepreneurs in our program. Thanks also to Jessica, Nigel, Ellen, and the rest of the Covington-Burley team for being in support of our organization in this program. Thanks to Jolly McPhee and the Internet Society for New York for recording tonight's program and for supporting our organization. And we've also had great community partners to make this possible, such as Chaya CDC, Upwardly Global, and Queens College. Please give a big round of applause for the sponsors and supporters that have made Access Code possible. Now, we're very honored to have some special guests with us here tonight. I want to introduce Congresswoman Grace Meng, who's here, and she represents significant districts here in Queens. She's a pioneer herself, the first Asian American woman to represent us in Congress from New York. She's a ranking member of the Small Business Subcommittee on Workforce and Contract in the House of Representatives, and she was born here and raised in Queens. Please give her a round of applause and welcome up here to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much, Jukay and David. This is really an amazing and exciting time to be here today for the Access Code's inaugural graduation, I guess. I also want to thank C4Q for their amazing, amazing leadership, not just throughout Queens, but for the state and the whole country. As someone who was born and raised in Queens, I'm one of many students, I believe, even though I'm an Asian American, who are not good at math and science. And I believe that just like it is with politics, if we gave more exposure to younger students and younger people, whether it's politics or whether it's subjects in the STEM disciplines, that more people would be likely to go into these fields. So I'm so grateful and so excited to see so many young people here today, and just want to congratulate all of you. In the federal government, I do want to especially thank Jukay, because he's been really supportive with all his advice on how the federal government can be more supportive. And I think one of the top priorities is what was mentioned before, which is basically access to education. And whether it's helping people, especially women and minorities at the K through 12 level, or whether it's providing opportunities at the graduate school level, we need to make sure that our students have the ability to be able to get trained in these fields. And it really is helping to build America stronger. It's helping to build our economy stronger. So I want to thank all of you for the tremendous service that you are providing for our country today. I'm the new Congressmember for parts of Queens. This here is not my district. I'm in the neighboring district, so I do want to thank Congresswoman Maloney for having me here today. And I remember just a few months ago, Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez and I took a little tour of all that C4Q is doing. So we're really excited. Please continue to do the great work that you're doing, and we look forward to lots of great opportunities for everyone here in America. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Meng. Yeah, thanks so much for your support and advocacy and leadership on these issues. We also have another special guest, Councilmember Karen Koslowitz, who represents Forest Hills here in Queens. She's been an amazing supporter, and both her and Congresswoman Meng, I've gotten lots of advice from for how to work with city government to help advocate and create additional opportunities here. She's the chair of economic development on city council as well, so the issues of tech are really important in her purview to her. And she's been a great supporter and a financial contributor to our program as well. So can you please give her a warm welcome, a round of applause, to Councilmember Karen Koslowitz.
Thank you. I just want to say Jukay is wonderful. When Jukay first came to me, it was more like a dream that he was having. And Jukay, you made it a reality. You have done so much good. His ideas, everything he does, I want to say turns to gold. Everything he touches turns to gold. And he's on his way to bringing great things to Queens. I'm on chair of the Economic Development Committee. And when they were deciding to open up a school, they were looking all over. And they were looking in Brooklyn, and they were looking in Staten Island, and they were looking every place but Queens. And I said to them, if you're going to do something that benefits Queens. And well, they're not coming to Queens, but they will be on Roosevelt Island. I was fortunate enough to go to Israel and go to Technion and see the wonderful work that they do. So they will be coming to Roosevelt Island, but the people that are going to live there and work there have to go someplace. And they're going to come to Queens because Queens is cheaper than living in Manhattan. So I just want to thank you, Jukay. My grandson is going to Drexel, and he's taking computer science. And when he's finished, I'm going to have him see you. So thank you very much, and I look forward to supporting you for many years to come.
All right, thank you so much for the kind words. I swear I didn't pay anyone to say these things, but a little embarrassing. But thank you very much, and thank you for being here. And now I want to introduce our keynote speaker, Nihal Mehta. Nihal is a serial entrepreneur, founder, investor, and philanthropist with a sharp passion for mobile technologies. He's founded 5 mobile startups since 1999 and invested in 70 others. So I know no one else better to speak about entrepreneurship and about mobile technologies. We're really thrilled to have him here tonight. Please give him a warm round of applause, Nihal Mehta.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I actually just met Jukay in person today, but I can also attest I'm in love. And he's wonderful, so thanks for having me. I'm still a young entrepreneur. There's still a lot of stuff I want to do, but it's amazing to be inspired and to also to try to give back, whenever I can, to kind of tell my story and also hear other people's stories. So this is the one thing this thing is a little dangerous here. This is the one thing I guess in my past sort of 14 or 15 years of entrepreneurship that I've really learned. And it's about perseverance. And I think for any entrepreneur, whether you're a tech entrepreneur or otherwise, to succeed, it's all about not giving up. And I just want to talk a little bit about my experiences, and hopefully this will inspire some folks. Warning, I've given this talk, I don't know, about 20 or 30 times, and there inevitably is somebody that quits their job or drops out of school. So warning, all right, warning. Get ready. He failed in business in 31. He was defeated for state legislator in 32. He tried another business in 33. It failed. His fiancée died in 35. He had a nervous breakdown in 36. In 43, he ran for Congress and was defeated. He tried again in 48 and was defeated again. He tried running for the Senate in 55. He lost. The next year, he ran for VP and lost. In 59, he ran for the Senate again and was defeated. Anybody know who this was?
Nixon. Abraham Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln, that's right. In 1860, the man who signed his name, Abraham Lincoln, was elected the 16th President of the United States. Obviously, fundamentally changing this country and potentially the world, right? And the difference between history's boldest accomplishments and its most staggering failures is the diligent will to persevere. And then he got shot, but anyway. This presentation is kind of unique because there's quotes in between slides. I'm going to try to, I was told I only have 10 minutes. This is usually like a 30-minute presentation, so I'm going to go fast, but feel free to grab me afterwards if you can't understand a single word that I'm saying. So I went to Penn, I actually studied computer science. I actually grew up in Iowa. Randomly enough, my parents immigrated to this country in the 70s from India. How did I end up in the Midwest? My dad actually, American dream story, right? Came over with nothing, borrowed $1,000 from his uncle, ended up getting a full scholarship at Marquette University to study, to get a master's in mechanical engineering. He then went back to India, had an arranged marriage with my mom, got a job at John Deere in Iowa. So that's why I was born and raised in Iowa. I'm a child of the corn. Success is the culmination of all our failures. So like every kind of Penn kid, so I studied computer science at Penn. The track at Penn, and it still is largely, is to go into investment banking or management consulting. And so I'm very proud to say I've never worked a day in my life at an investment bank. Applause, please, applause, no. I actually have a signed offer letter from Goldman Sachs that's in my apartment. So I graduated in 1999. It was the first dot-com big boom, right? And so in college, one of the things I was really passionate about was actually DJing and playing music, and I was a musician as a young age, as a young kid. And we were sick of emailing kind of our friends, my roommate and I, as to where we were DJing next and where the parties were, essentially. And so we created a website, and that website in Philadelphia was called phillytonight.com. And so the year was 99, and you know, being a son of an immigrant, and I know a lot of folks in this room also have the same experience, you kind of have three options, and I'll say it in my best Indian accent ever. You can be a doctor or lawyer or an engineer, right? And there's no entrepreneur in that equation, right? There are these very set tracks. And I was very lucky that my parents were like, oh, it's the dot-com boom, you know? You've got to take advantage. You've got to take advantage of this, right? So when I graduated in 99 with this website, and they said, why don't we just try to, listen, Goldman Sachs will always be there. It actually almost wasn't there a couple times. But why don't you go ahead and try to start this company, right? So my roommate and I went out in 99. We launched phillytonight.com. We were able actually to raise a little bit of money through friends and family. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try. We did a lot of kind of creative things at Philly Tonight. We actually spent a lot of money very quickly as well. This was incense. We were kind of marketing towards college kids. We had Philly Tonight billboards. We had Philly Tonight commercials on TV. We actually had Scratch from The Roots do a beatbox for Philly Tonight. It was on MTV. It was pretty cool. But nonetheless, we burned through a lot of money. It was a typical kind of dot-com business in 99. This is Jeff Bezos. This is one of my favorite quotes. To do disruptive innovation, you have to be willing to be misunderstood for a very long time. So Bezos, he said this actually in 1994, right, when he was just thinking about Amazon. Nobody understood that books would be sold online for 10 years since he started Amazon, maybe 8 years. Last Black Friday, he did $1 billion online in one day, right? So you have to be willing to be misunderstood for a very long time. Philly Tonight became Cities Tonight. We decided to expand to other cities. This is Katarina Fake, founder of Flickr. Leaders are not what many people think, people with huge crowds following them. Leaders are people who go their own way without caring or even looking to see whether anyone is following them. We spent a lot of money on this logo. We spent like $50,000 on this logo. It's an embarrassment. We renamed the company to Urban Groove. Babe Ruth, we have this quote in our office in Chelsea right now. Every strike brings me closer to the next home run. Even if you fall on your face, you're still moving forward. So then this happened, right? The big crash, 2001, obviously 9/11. A lot of things impacted the economy, specifically in startups that were supported by advertising revenue. This is what San Francisco looked like at the time, literally tumbleweed blowing around, right? And we had literally no, I think we had $10,000 of revenue or something in the company. We spent about $1 million. That $10,000, by the way, was not aligned to our business model. It was making like one of our uncles a website. Totally random. It wasn't like anything to do with what we were actually doing. Jay-Z, no presentation is complete without a quote from Jay-Z. I will not lose for even in defeat. There's a valuable lesson learned, so it evens up for me. I actually moved out to San Francisco. So this was actually the best learning lesson of my life. I started a company right after college. I raised some money, I built it up. We had 40 folks in staff. The crash happened, I took it all the way down. And people have much bigger and more glamorous stories. This is a real big important story to me because we actually had to file for bankruptcy in 2001. We had about $300,000 on the balance sheet in debt. We had no way to raise more money. Nobody was funding businesses. Again, as a son of of immigrants, right? Bankruptcy is like the worst thing ever, right? You're at like a Diwali party, and the auntie in the corner is like, "That kid filed for bankruptcy." You know? It's like, oh man, it's literally the worst thing ever, right? And it took me so long to get over. But now, in retrospect, those 2 years taught me that I could do anything. If I could face failure like that in the face and get up and dust yourself off and do it again, then you can face anything, right? And everything. And I thought I was very lucky to have had that experience. In this country, specifically in the United States of America, you can do those things, right? If you grow up in Pakistan, for example, and you have debt in your balance sheet, like you can go to jail. Like there's no such thing as bankruptcy, right? So we're very fortunate to be able to do that. I don't know how many times Donald Trump has filed bankruptcy, right? And he's still like one of the most wealthy Americans ever, right? So I moved to San Francisco. How's the time doing, by the way? How many minutes? We're good? Okay. 30 more minutes? Tough times never last, but tough people do. So I went back to my roots in San Francisco. Actually, after I sold the business, after we filed for bankruptcy, I bought back the assets because I thought that there was something cool that we had built there. And I went to San Francisco, and I didn't have much income, so I was DJing what I knew how to do well to actually pay my bills, pay my rent. And so we ended up doing 2 or 3 events a month in San Francisco, actually under the Urban Groove name, so I could pay my rent while I could start working on the next iteration of this company. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. This is one of my inspirations, Vinod Khosla, who's probably one of the most successful venture capitalists in this country, also an immigrant. I probably failed more often than anybody else in Silicon Valley. Those don't matter. I don't remember the failures. You remember the big successes. The willingness to fail is the single biggest reason that entrepreneurs succeed. So, named after the sound that a record makes when you scratch it, I started a company called Ipsh. Ipsh actually was based on the assets I bought back from Urban Groove. And what it was essentially was a text messaging platform. So in Urban Groove, we built this text messaging platform where you could sign up for Philadelphia hip hop, put in your phone number, and every night we would text you with what was happening in the hip hop music scene in Philadelphia. And I thought, what happens if we can sell this to brands? Maybe record labels would like this, maybe brands would like this. And so we incorporated Ipsh in 2001. The investors that invested in Philly Tonight, I realized they were friends and family. And so after we filed for bankruptcy, They got to write that off, but I also gave them 5 times the equity for free in this next company. I said, stay with me. That was a very important thing that I did. And so, Oprah Winfrey, do the one thing you think you cannot do. Fail at it. Try again. Do better the second time. The only people who never tumble are those who never mount the high wire. This is your moment. Own it. Of course, she has to say own. That's her TV network. But anyway. So one of the big breaks of this company, this is 2002. So this is over 10 years ago. We actually started working with Nelly. And Nelly wanted to use this SMS in a really interesting way. At that time, this is pre-iTunes, pre-digital distribution. People were still buying tapes, right? You guys are like, what are those? To get your album charted to #1, you had to essentially get a lot of play on MTV. That was the biggest distribution channel, or BET. And to do that, there were these shows, TRL, that's still around, or 106 in Park, where you can dial in and request these videos. So Nelly's manager thought, I have like 200,000 text message, phone numbers that people have just registered on my website to get these alerts to their beepers at that time, right? Why don't we just send them a message through your technology seconds before voting starts, so that a message from Nelly that says, press talk now to call 106 in Park to vote on my video. We're like, all right, let's do it. Out of, say, 150,000 messages that we send, we had 80% of the people actually press talk and vote. So many people voted that the lines got jammed. It was busy for the majority of people that got through, actually got through, and the track went to #1, Air Force One, the album went to #1. This was the front page of the Hollywood Reporter. So we're like, all right, we're onto something, right? If things seem under control, you are just not going fast enough. Madonna actually was another customer. She actually joined our advisory board. I have a funny story about Madonna. She said, what kind of name is Ipsh? You should call your company something more fluid, like water. This is a real quote, right? First time I met Madonna, too. I was like 24 years old. I was like, no, I like Ipsh. And I said under my breath, what kind of name is Madonna? But what she wanted to do is, this is actually through her digital manager, is actually take banner ads that they spend a ton of money on anyway and actually make them text message activated, so you could put in your phone number and your friend's phone number, and it would spoof a text as if it was coming from you to your friend, and it would say, Madonna, Nihal's got this new track for you from Madonna, and the user would press the talk button and literally hear Madonna's voice, hear the track, and then be able to download the ringtone when ringtones were cool, or pre-order the album. So that did really well. Have a healthy disregard for the impossible. Larry Page, founder of Google, that's completely blowing Google up right now, which is amazing. So kind of the rest is history. This was San Jose Mercury News in 2005. This is like the first smartphone ever. This is the Trio, like 90. I'm very proud of it. I have a whole museum at home. The difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will. And then the big brands started knocking on our doors. So after the artists started working with us, we started working with folks like Starburst, where we would put a 5-digit short code on the candy and you could text in to win. If you guys remember the first time you could text into American Idol, about 9 years ago, we powered that kind of interaction where people on their couches could text in and then vote on their favorite contestants. This is co-founder of Twitter, Biz. Timing, perseverance, and 10 years of trying will eventually make you look like an overnight success. All right, that's a great quote. This is the founder of Twitter, right? He's been trying and failing for 10 years, and all of a sudden, he's a huge success. You don't have to take pictures. We can email you the deck as well. So then McDonald's and other brands, et cetera, you are what you believe yourself to be. And then in 2005, actually it's no longer called Omnicom, I guess. They just merged with Publicis, right? Which is kind of insane. These were the 2 biggest ad holding companies in the world. And they started fishing around for mobile. And I said I wanted to get investment in this company because a lot of our competitors were now venture-backed at this time. This was 2005. And they actually looked at our company and they said, listen, you guys are profitable, you guys are innovators, you're the leaders. We'd actually want to acquire you. And so we went back and forth between the two of these companies, ended up selling the company to Omnicom. So this was my first kind of business lesson, right? Which is like starting a company in '99, failing, going bankrupt, buying back the assets, building another company, and then selling it to Omnicom. It was a 6-year cycle with a bankruptcy in the middle, with a lot of hard work and a lot of perseverance. And when we talk to entrepreneurs now, as an investor, we say, you got to sign up for at least 10 years to do this. This is not a Instagram 18-month type of ordeal. You're going to go through pivots and turns and recaps and bankruptcies. But if you have the will and the perseverance, you will find a way. So this was a great day when I sold the company. I could finally look at that auntie who was talking about my bankruptcy at that Diwali party in the eye and say, now what's up, right? Don't chase the paper, chase the dream. That's Biggie Smalls. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try. Right after we sold Ipsh, a buddy was actually dropping out of college from Wharton, and he started this company, AdMob. He let me be one of his first investors and as an advisor. Google acquired AdMob a few years ago, and it was basically the largest mobile advertising network in the world at that time. So every banner ad that you see on the phone was powered by AdMob. Now there's a few other ad networks in the space. People rarely succeed unless they have fun at what they're doing. And so I left Omnicom as soon as I could. I'll wrap this up now, by the way, even though you're not even paying attention anymore. So I realized that as an entrepreneur, we are like habitually like unemployable, right? We can't really work for anybody else once you have a taste of doing something that you love doing. We work 100 hours a week, not to work 40 hours a week, right? And so I left Omnicom as soon as I could, and I said, hey, this nightlife city guide thing still hasn't been figured out, but let's do it through a mobile lens. And so I started this company in 2007. It was called Buzzed. And it was essentially like a pre-Foursquare Foursquare, or like a real-time city guide that actually told you, what was happening, what was hot, what was not hot. And this is before iPhone and Android came out, so this was all on the mobile web. This is what it looked like. We were actually on the front page of the Times in 2008 when we launched, because there was nothing like it. And yes, that is a BlackBerry. We did some really creative and fun things. I don't know how this happened, but we were trying to do deals with carriers to get traffic, because there's no iTunes, essentially. And so Virgin was a big partner that we wanted to get to, and we didn't know how to talk to their CMO or meet their CEO. So I don't know how this happened, but we went to visit them, and somehow the fire alarm went off. I don't know how it happened. And the entire team, the entire company was out in the parking lot. And we ended up meeting everybody and ended up doing a deal with Virgin like 2 weeks later. I don't advocate doing anything like that, because that's illegal. But it was interesting how that happened. Steve Jobs, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. Right? Everybody has seen this Stanford speech that Steve gave. But I fundamentally believe this, right? Like, do things that you're passionate about, and everything will fall into place. You only fail when you quit. I don't have any tattoos, but if I was ever to get one, although my wife would not want me to, it would say that. So Buzz actually failed. I started in 2007. We raised a bunch of venture capital. In 2010, we realized we couldn't make a lot of money having this free consumer mobile product. And so instead of kind of shutting down the business like I did the first time around, we actually just turned it around. And we realized that more and more people were broadcasting where they were and what they were doing. And can we make ads smarter based on what people are giving off? And that was the genesis behind LocalResponse. We changed the company name in 2010, essentially recapped the company, which means got new investors on board. And what LocalResponse does is if you tweet, I just went for a run, you might see an ad for Nike the next time you're surfing the mobile web. Or if you pin up a BMW to your Pinterest, you might see an ad for Audi or something, right? And so it makes ads more targeted and more relevant. And the inspiration of this is what we learned at Buzzed. And it's still going. We have 40 folks now in Chelsea. This is year 6 now. So I'm kind of itching to see what the next level is now of this company. But these things take a while, right? Again, this thing started as buzz, as a consumer social city guide, became this ad network that make ads more relevant based on what people are broadcasting to the world. This is one of my favorite quotes. Mark Andreessen, founder of Netscape, probably one of the best investors out there today. Realize that a startup puts you on an emotional roller coaster unlike anything you've ever experienced. You will flip rapidly from a day in which you're euphorically convinced you're going to own the world to a day in which doom seems only weeks away and you can feel completely ruined and back again, over and over and over. Has anybody felt like this as an entrepreneur? Raise their hand. Along the way, I became an investor as well. And, like Jukay mentioned, I love coaching entrepreneurs and helping them based on my experiences and now my network and being able to leverage that to get them to new heights. So we have a fund called ENIAC. It's named after the world's first computer. Took up this entire building and more. We thought it'd be ironic to call a mobile fund ENIAC because the processing power of the phone that you hold is about 1,000,000 times faster, 1,000,000 times greater than that ENIAC. So all the companies that we invest in are mobile first. And so some of them are really unique. A lot of them are mobile education and mobile healthcare. There's a company called MindSnacks. About 5 out of 10 of the top education apps in iTunes today are MindSnacks games. Teach kids languages through game mechanics, for example. There's another cool company called Ginger that actually can predict your health state based on how you use your phone, who you call, who you text, where you go. So there's really a lot of really interesting stuff that's happening in the mobile ecosystem today. No, this is my wife, so she makes sure I put a slide about her in every single presentation I give. So we're soulmates. We met 5 years ago. Entrepreneurs have a habit, like I mentioned. Hopefully there'll be a few folks that quit their jobs or drop out of school in this room. Don't tell me if you drop out of school necessarily, but quit their jobs to do something they love. When I met Reshma, she was actually working in the finance industry, and she always had a passion to run for political office. And so I take the credit for inspiring her. She doesn't necessarily completely agree with me, but she left the private industry to run for office. We ran for U.S. Congress, actually in this district in 2010 for the first time, as a first time running, against actually who's become a really good friend now, Carolyn Maloney, in a Democratic primary. A lot of pollsters said we get 1% of the vote, and we got a lot more than that, which was great. And now Reshma went on to found an organization called Girls Who Code. Thank you very much. To try to close the gender gap that we have in STEM and teach young women, specifically from underserved communities, computer science at an early age. That program is doing extremely well. We just went national recently. We're running our second race for public advocate. The election's in 6 weeks, September 10th. So after we lost the congressional primary, we became the deputy public advocate, and so now we're running for public advocate. But the reason she's in here is because she's an entrepreneur as well. We're kind of doing the uncharted. We're driven by our own passion and to also help people. So this is not a political speech, but you all have to vote for her. Walt Disney, if you can dream it, you can do it. Last but not least, every one of you is Clark Kent. You're Superman and you don't even know it. Thank you for letting me go over my 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Nihal. That was such an awesome, I think, journey about the hardships and perseverance in tech. Can you please give Nihal another round of applause for sharing that with us? As well as Reshma Sudrani has also been a great support and advisor about the stuff we do. Girls Who Code is kind of an inspiration and a model. They focus on younger girls, younger women, but they build a great program, and Reshma's going to do great things for New York. Now, next I want to introduce Ben Wei, the program director for Access Code, without which none of this would be possible. Please welcome Ben Wei.
Thank you, everybody. And I know we've been doing a lot of clapping, but I want to give a round of applause for everybody who came today. It's been a long year, and it's amazing just to see everybody in this room together. We're here to celebrate and recognize our students' hard work over the past 3 months. Since May, our class of 21 students have spent over 100 hours learning the skills to develop and launch their own iPhone applications. They have consumed over 250 cups of coffee and have built 4 amazing products. Before we introduce the students, I'd like to share with you the journey that they went through for this program. Over a year ago, we began meeting with community partners and educators to design a course that would increase access to quality tech education. We discovered that tech education remained out of reach for the everyday New Yorker. Most of the existing programs were too expensive. They took place during normal working hours, and they didn't connect students with the resources necessary to begin a career in technology. So we went to the drawing board and we decided to build a program from the ground up. We built a program that awarded partial and full scholarships, offered an intensive educational experience on the weekends, and brought in industry experts to mentor our students. We chose to teach Objective-C so that our students could get an in-demand skill set that would provide the foundational knowledge to become expert developers. Many of our students have little to no background, and over the course of the past 10 weeks, they were able to build real, tangible iPhone applications. We wanted to find the most promising students from a diverse range of backgrounds, so we partnered with local community groups such as Upwardly Global, Chaya, and the CUNY McCully Honors Program. We received over 150 applications in the course of 2 weeks. I was surprised. I was like, how am I going to read 150 applications? But we found the time, and our staff came together and went through each and every one of the applications. We were overwhelmed by the response. So we conducted multiple rounds of interviews and identified students who are passionate about beginning a career in technology and are committed to making an impact. We're proud to say today that our inaugural class is 57% female. (52% underrepresented minorities and 40% immigrants. And surprisingly, this is broadly reflective of all the applicants who applied to our program, showing that we really kind of built a program that appealed and was relevant to the average New Yorker. Our students come from all over the world, as well as all over New York City, from the East Bronx, Harlem, Jackson Heights, and the Queensbridge housing projects. Our class is not only culturally diverse, but our students also have a diverse range of experiences and backgrounds, from a Queens Public Library instructor to a venture-backed startup founder to graphic designers. We wanted a program where students could learn from each other in a collaborative environment. Our 10-week program focuses on practical hands-on learning. Our students worked in a peer programming environment and teamed up together to build applications. We worked closely with Elliot Arntz, an expert practitioner for Bitfountain, one of the top iOS development agencies in New York City, to develop a curriculum to fit our mission and to create an intensive learning environment. I'd like to take a second to thank our instructor, Elliot, as well as... Elliot, can you please stand up? We are also very fortunate to have 3 great TAs. We have our lead TA, Venkat, as well. Stand up. Angelica and Heba. Please stand up. Thank you so much for your hard work. They would send me emails at 3 in the morning saying, our students have a bug in our code. How do we need to fix this and push it, and it just ended up working overnight. So it's like they worked the magic of the class, and we were so appreciative of all their hard work. Our class started and ended with weekend coding marathons, with students hacking away for 16 hours over 2 days. In addition to helping our students develop their programming skills, we want to encourage them to build their own ventures. It was important to have industry experts visit the class and provide intimate discussions on how to grow a company. Thus, in the past 3 months, we had Vin Vacanti, founder of Yipit, speak about the entrepreneurship cycle. Patrick Moberg, founder of Dots, spoke about acquiring 1 million users within the first week of his app launch. Cameron Kozak, founder of branding agency Fictive Kins, spoke about the importance of product design and branding and gave some great advice about navigating the startup environment. Jalak Jobinputra, partner at Future Perfect Ventures, gave an overview of the potential sources of fundraising and provided tips on how to best approach venture capitalists. We were really fortunate to have such a great group of mentors come in to help the class and help them along with their projects. I'm now happy to introduce the teams and their exciting projects. Over the course of 10 weeks, all the students learned how to build the core functionality of 4 different types of applications: a task list manager, a password manager, a camera application, and a dating application. With this understanding, students have the skills to build the basic framework for most iPhone apps. Each student then joined one of 4 teams. They chose to build out a specific application type from scratch, personalized and created new features, and built out full, complete products. I'm really proud and happy to introduce the first team, Team BusyBee. Everyone, let's give a round of applause for Team BusyBee.
Hi, everybody. We are Team BusyBee. And before we demo our app, we'd like to take a moment to introduce ourselves. I'm trying really hard not to break into song because I just saw Book of Mormon yesterday, so I'll try to keep calm. My name is Donisa Vacharasani, and I currently live in Jamaica, Queens with my husband, Tony. And I actually am an HR professional working at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. In my time there, particularly in the last year and a half, I was very fortunate to partner with our HR Info Systems department on various projects where we leverage technology resources to make our systems better, our processes better, our employees' lives easier. So I naturally became very interested in tech, and it piqued my interest. So I attended a Coalition for Queens meetup and got to meet a lot of very passionate people who are excited about also leveraging tech resources to better their community, to better people's lives. So I immediately thought, yes, this is exactly what I want to do, but I had no idea where to start. Enter access code. So over the last 2 months or so, I've been learning programming basics, Objective-C, but one of the more interesting things I learned was how to struggle with a problem, how to go on sites like Ray Wunderlich and Stack Overflow. Elliot knows what I'm talking about. Because you can just tap into a body of knowledge of folks who've already struggled with these issues. So I think that was the most interesting part for me. I was very fortunate to work with Team BusyBee on a task list app because our goal was to build something that would make people's lives easier. So that was very exciting. My next step, I think I want to kind of stay in the HR field a bit, maybe see if I can continue to make our processes better, but I would absolutely love to break into the tech sector and maybe work for an innovative tech company. And now to introduce my buddy Hassan.
Hello everyone, my name is Hassan Priyo. I am originally from Dhaka, Bangladesh, and I immigrated to New York City about 7 years ago. I live in Queens, Jackson Heights. I've always been very interested in technology, and I recently graduated with a BE in mechanical engineering from City College of New York. So on my during my final project in City College, I was working on a 3D printer, and I wanted to build a mobile app with which I could control my 3D printer, but I didn't know how to code. So I learned about access code through Chaya CDC, a community development organization here in Queens. I was really excited at the opportunity to learn how to code and gain insights of app development. Over the past 10 weeks, I went from knowing very little about coding to being able to help build a fully functional iPhone application. Now I can go back and build the app for my 3D printer with which I can control my 3D printer. My goal is to work in a New York City tech company and further enhance my programming skill. For the BusyBee app, I specifically worked on the setting page and the date picker feature. Thank you. I'll give it to Anne.
Hi, I'm Angelica. I was the project lead NTA for the BusyBee project. A few years ago, I was pursuing a career in clinical research and biomedical sciences with a plan to apply to medical school. But after working in the field for a few years, I realized that that was not for me, and I found myself wishing that I had pursued a more technical track. And thinking that it might be too late or too difficult to switch over, I took my chances and I applied for the CUNY Queens College graduate program, where I'm now pursuing a master's in computer science. During the past 2 summers, I have been fortunate to obtain internships in iOS app development, which I fell in love with immediately. And my current internship this summer has been with Dash Labs, a Techstars company. Upon graduating from my program next spring in 2014, I most certainly will pursue a career in iOS app development. I became involved with Access Code because I wanted to learn from a seasoned iOS professional, Elliot, as well as impart my knowledge and excitement about iOS on the students of the class. Participating in Access Code has helped me to solidify my foundation in iOS, and it has afforded me the opportunity to lead a team of developers toward the glory that is the creation of a fully functioning app. And this leadership experience, I'm sure, will prove vital to me during my career as a developer. So thanks very much to the Queens Coalition for making this possible, and I now introduce Jasmine.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine Baker and I'm from Fresh Meadows, Queens. I recently graduated from Hobart and William Smith Colleges with a BA in English, and I currently work as a technical support aide at Queens Public Library, where I teach basic computer skills and job readiness classes to underserved communities. As a computer instructor, I developed an interest in learning how to create applications and programs similar to the ones I teach. I found out about Access Code through the library, and even though I had absolutely zero experience in programming and have never taken a computer science course before this, I found that Access Code gave me an excellent understanding of computer science fundamentals and mobile app development. I plan on furthering my knowledge by interning, taking more classes, and conducting my own research. Ultimately, my goal is to combine my interest in teaching and technology in order to create and instruct computer science courses in public libraries. Okay, so now you've met us, and it's time to introduce you to our app, BusyBee. BusyBee is an easy-to-use, taskless app catering to those who want a quick way to keep track of everyday tasks. Our team recognized that task management itself could feel like such a chore, so we wanted to take some of the stress out of the process by creating an app that was simple, self-explanatory, and gratifying for the user. We conducted market research to determine popular trends amongst taskless apps in terms of functionality, layout, and design. We downloaded a lot of different taskless apps. After a day or so of use, we realized that the majority of the apps had a laundry list of additional features, such as calendars, wallpapers, and account creation. With many of these apps, creating a simple to-do list is unnecessarily complicated. So we set out to create an attractive, minimalist task management app. Who here uses Post-it notes? You can raise your hands. A lot of us, right? If you're like me, you probably have way too many Post-its stuck to any available surface of your desk at work, correct? Yes. Almost everyone uses them or some other form of scrap paper. Paper memos are convenient, impossible to ignore, and disposable. We use them to remember the things we have to do, and we get a zing of accomplishment when we complete a task and get to throw the Post-it away. That is what we were striving for with BusyBee. We wanted to create an app that possessed the ease and simplicity of a Post-it with the comforting, familiar look of a notepad and the sense of accomplishment that comes from being able to finally check off a task as completed. With BusyBee, you can create a task list, add your tasks, check them off, and move on. For larger projects, we have provided the added options of setting due dates and adding notes, and the interface is streamlined and simple. Keeping track of the things you have to do shouldn't be a task in and of itself. In a very simple, manageable way, BusyBee allows the user to become more efficient and maximize his or her time. We will now demo BusyBee so that you can see these features for yourself.
Thank you, Jasmine. And here is BusyBee. So in this first screen is actually where you can create your to-do lists. We included a default to-do list called Everyday To-Do because we realized that a lot of apps make you go through multiple steps before you can just simply add a quick task. So we wanted to give the user a quick way to simply go to a list and start adding stuff. But of course, you can create your own lists. For example, we created ones called groceries, school supply, travel, and so forth. But for the purposes of this demo, we will go to our Everyday To-Do list. Let me paint a quick scene for you and tell me if this has happened to you before. So it's early in the morning, you're getting ready for work, you're brushing your teeth, and you realize, damn, I'm almost out of toothpaste. So you think, I gotta buy some. When I go to the pharmacy, I should also refill my prescription when I'm there. You finish getting ready, you realize you're late for work, run to the F train, and completely forget what it was that you needed to buy. This has happened to everybody, right? So we wanted something that was really easy and quick for you to be able to add these and check them off. So you bought your toothpaste. We have our quick check function. And if you wanted to leave room in your list for later, you can actually just delete it by swiping altogether. So your journey can end here, done. But let's say you actually wanted to add more detail. For example, when it comes to refilling your prescription, you need to be able to set the date by which you need to do it by because you're running low on pills. So, refill prescription. You can actually set a due date with our date picker function. I know I gotta get these filled by Wednesday, so I'm gonna go ahead and select Wednesday, July 31st. Set date, done. And I know that I've also got another 3 or 4 prescriptions sitting at the pharmacy, so I wanna remind myself which one that I wanna actually fill. So I can actually start typing in my notes, for example, picking up my allergy meds, and then I can save. So there you have it. We really wanted to focus on simplicity, streamlined, and something that was very easy to use. And if you like all of that, you can also visit our info page where we have more information about us. We give you a little bit of our motivation behind BusyBee, as well as a link to join us on our Facebook page. There's our page, it's so cute. And if you go back, you can also contact us. For example, let's say you're using it and you think there's a bug or you just have, some way that you want to give us feedback. You can do so here, as well as you can go back and give us feedback on Apple's website for Write a Review. And last but not least, if you want to see the geniuses behind who brought you BusyBee, you can go back and click on the credits. And there we are. We just want to take a moment to thank our wonderful TA, Angelica. We also want to thank Elliot for being so patient with us, as well as the Coalition for Queens. Special shout out to Eddie for the logo, and also Dave for helping us with our image assets. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Team BusyBee. Next up, we have our second team, Team delockr. Please give them a warm round of applause.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We're really very excited to premiere for you today a new app called delockr. delockr is a password management app. What it does is it allows you to safely and securely store your passwords in a very easily accessible way. But before we get started, I'd like to introduce our amazing team. Starting with me, I guess. And my name is Rebecca Kleinberg. I'm from San Francisco, and I currently live in Brooklyn. My entire career background is in the travel industry, and my career has allowed me to travel all around the world. But about 2 years ago, I started to develop an interest in learning more about technology because I was very inspired by the way that technology can empower people and change their lives. And so I started taking classes. I've taken classes in HTML, CSS, Ruby on Rails, JavaScript, some computer science, and now iOS development. It's pretty clear that mobile technology is the future, and we're just getting started. So it was when I found out about access code through Code Crew, which Felicia is a part of, I applied. I knew it was the next step in my educational path. What I've really enjoyed about this project is seeing how to produce something from the conception all the way to the execution. And on delockr, I worked on the settings app, the settings functionality. In the future, I intend to continue my education, transition into a career in technology, and I have my own startup idea that I'd like to work on. And now let me introduce Andrew.
Thank you, Rebecca. So I'm Andrew Benny. I'm originally from Miami and now live in Jackson Heights, New York. After graduating from the Wharton School, I worked for a few startups in New York, working primarily on business strategy. Most recently, I worked for a company called Mendeley, which is a research collaboration platform that was sold this past April. While working for Mendeley, I really feel I developed a foundation to start my own technology company. And late last year, I decided to build a minimum viable product for a mobile app. But in New York, it's very, very difficult to find a technical co-founder, and I found that out very early. So when I heard about Access Code, it really provided an opportunity not only to learn how to code, but to execute on my vision. For the delockr app, I worked on the home collection views, as well as the data model for our app. Moving forward, I plan to build on this iOS foundation and use what I've learned to build SliceShares, a mobile app to help friends share pizza delivery orders throughout New York City. I'll now pass it over to my friend and colleague, Paula Mata.
Hi, I'm Paula Mata. I was born in Ecuador but grew up here in Brooklyn. Although I studied computer science at Brooklyn Tech High School, in college I chose to major in English. And since then I've been working in administrative roles within nonprofits. I also started a meetup group recently that's dedicated to the empowerment of women. So a few months ago I decided I wanted to learn HTML and CSS so that I could have more control over my blog. And I started using online tutorials to build my tech skills. Then I heard about the opportunity to learn iOS development through, I heard from the New York Latino Tech Meetup actually, and I immediately applied. The idea of being able to create an application for a mobile device was very exciting to me. And I lose track of my passwords all the time, so for me it was personally fulfilling to be able to create an application that solved all my password woes. For the delockr app, I worked on the generate password features and on the toolbar, which you'll see shortly. And I am now looking forward to a really exciting new career as an iOS developer, creating apps like delockr that solve real-world problems. And now to introduce Frank.
Hi everyone, I'm Frank Rivera, and I'm a designer. I'm new to New York City from Los Angeles, where I grew up and attended college. After graduating and getting some experience as a designer, I saw many job opportunities in digital media, so I've since sought out on my own to take courses and get my job skills up to date. I decided to join Access Code so that I could learn how to take my designs and create useful, functioning apps. I'm a little nervous. I code, I can't talk. Using my design background, I was able to create the interface for our delockr app. I was able to implement the design throughout the whole project, from everything from the background art to the intro animation. I look forward to utilizing my new skills and offering mobile services to my future clients. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our TA and team leader, Heba Al-Sayed.
Hi, my name is Heba Al-Sayed. I live in Staten Island. As a developer, I joined the Access Code program to gain experience building and launching an app in the Apple Store. My experience as a TA has been exceptionally rewarding. I helped my classmates program in Objective-C and conveyed to them the excitement of creating apps. Also, I had the privilege of leading the delockr team to build an app that we are quite proud of. In the future, I am looking forward to continue teaching others and creating more apps that would help the community at large. Thank you, and now here's Rebecca.
Thanks, Heba. So when we started to look at creating an app that would manage passwords, we really thought through the problems that people face when they're trying to manage their apps. So I wanted to just ask the audience to start, how many of you have more than one account for one password? If by a show of hands. It's a lot. And how many of here have had to change a password in the last month because you just couldn't access one when you needed it? I mean, it's a lot. There's a clear need here. Actually, the truth is that the average person has 40 unique accounts and only 5 passwords. And 70% of us have had to change our password in the last month. So when trying to address this universal problem, we set out to create an app that would allow users to access secure passwords when they're on the go. And so we created specific features around this vision. First off, delockr has functionality so that you can generate secure passwords within the app. We created a URL launcher so that you can navigate from the app into a website and then paste in your password that you have saved. We also created an alert because security professionals really recommend that you change your password every 90 days. And so delockr has an alert. It turns red when it's been 90 days since you've last changed your password. And we also created an auto logout feature. You will actually be able to select the amount of time that you want to be able to be away from your app before it automatically logs you out. And when it came to design, we really wanted to create something that represented an actual physical locker, sort of that combination of like technology and usability, real life. And so we created what looks like actual lockers, and these lockers are our categories under which you can organize your passwords. And we did so with a dark theme and just a bit of color because we wanted to convey seriousness and security, but also make it elegant. And so now we really are excited to demonstrate the functionality of delockr, your life unlocked. Andrew?
Thanks. So I'll take you through the key functionalities of delockr. We'll start by taking a look at our sign-in page. We'll jump into our locker and account creation. And we'll end by taking a closer look at our settings page as well as our auto logout functionality. So let's sign into delockr. No problem. We're just getting AirPlay to work. So basically, before you actually sign into delockr, you have to create a master account. So we're actually not going through that whole process here, but we're just going to start from the sign-in page.
That was a joke.
So I can tell you lots of jokes, actually. I guess regarding password security, it's really not a joke. Like, this is serious. This is a serious matter. In the past month, the app developer site's been hacked. City Bike's been hacked. So this is like a real application for your needs. So it's not a joking matter.
It's not a demo if it works.
I guess we could just talk more about the process, right? We could talk more about the process. We definitely spent, really, does it really matter about the process? You just want a product that works, right? You just want a product that works.
All right, so let's sign into delockr. Nice. So once you sign into delockr, you're automatically sent to our add locker view. So here we've created we have a collection view where you can add your lockers. Lockers are essentially categories for stored password accounts. So here we'll start at the top. Since I'm planning an upcoming trip, let's create a hotel locker by clicking the add locker button. Click that at the top and actually type in hotels. And actually, quickly, this actually went to our password view. So within the password view, you can type in your account details, starting with your account, your username, your password, and your URL. And at any point during this view, we've built in an edit in our view feature, so you can edit and view from this view as well. One thing that we've done as well, once we save this data, is we built in a way to seamlessly integrate with the web. So this is an app, but we also want it to be user-friendly as well. So once we actually type in the URL there, we have a URL launcher, so you can simply click that to connect to your online account. Additionally, we have a password save feature. So we can actually save our password automatically from within the app and paste it on our online account. So we'll actually just go through that and update that information.
That's actually the AirPlay, not the app works really well.
Yeah, the app's actually really, really clean. It's a nice app. I'm not just saying that. So now that we have that hotel account saved, we can actually go back to actually copy the password and actually go straight to the Airbnb site to paste it within the Airbnb account. So within the app, you can simply connect it with all of your unique passwords. So now that's saved, we can actually jump to another folder, another locker. So one thing we can do is actually we'll go to our flight locker, our airline locker, so just to check on our upcoming flight. So. So once we actually go into our flight details, you'll see in red, we actually have basically a filter that tells users if their password is older than 90 days old. Once we look at this Delta account, you'll actually see it there. And actually that's, as Rebecca's mentioned before, it's sort of an industry standard. If your password's 90 days old, you should change it. And it's not something we all think about, but we just wanted to build it into the framework of this app. So now that we see that this red is actually appearing there, we can actually simply auto-generate a password to update our password and actually save that new detail to actually save it to our account. Once that's done, we'll see it. We'll actually see the red up. There it is. So we can auto-generate a password from this view, and you see it no longer appears in red. So it's a great thing for just to update your account just to make it more secure over time. One thing you might notice at the bottom of the page is we have a navigation controller. This is just an easy way for any user to access their settings page, their home view, or auto logout at any point. So we'll start by taking a look at our settings page. And actually, within our settings page, we actually included 3 key features that basically added a layer of security for this security app. The first of which is an auto logout for our time interval. So at any point, a user can choose whether to auto log out after 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, or 2 minutes. And in this case, we actually set it to 2 minutes. Additionally, we actually have another security layer in terms of our self-destruct feature. And a lot of other security apps on the market have this as well, but we wanted to make sure we had it for 8 failed login attempts. So basically, if a thief ever stole your phone, they wouldn't be able to access your data. Lastly, we have a delete database button that's built into the app, and that's the 3rd layer of security. So towards the bottom here, you'll also see delete database. It's simply a button, so at any point, if you just wanted to wipe out all of your data, you can just clean it there. So this is basically just V1 of delockr, but we have a lot in store for V2. We've already started planning and actually building different features. So I'll hand it back to Rebecca to cover some of those functionalities.
Thanks, Andrew. So yeah, we built out delockr in about 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, and we have a lot of ideas for the second version. We're definitely going to keep working on it. We're going to implement some sounds, some locker sounds opening and closing, and we'd like to implement some swipe functionality for the master password, as well as sharing functionality so that family members or work associates can share. And we would really like to invite you to check out our website, delockr.com. You can sign up to be immediately notified when it is up and on the Apple website, ready for download. We welcome you to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. We will follow you back. And before closing, we just really want to give a thanks to everybody for coming tonight. We want to give a huge thanks to Heba, who was instrumental in creating the app. For Access Code for making it possible, and for creating this wonderful program, and and for all the sponsors for making it possible. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, can we please give another round of applause for Team delockr? Wonderful app. Everyone also have an opportunity at the end to see their app in action on the iPhone. So next up, please welcome Team ShutterChef.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming to our demo day. I'm Eric Romano, and I'm on Team ShutterChef. ShutterChef is the easiest way to share pictures of food and recipes with your friends and family. Before I show you the app, let's meet the team. Let's give a warm welcome to my teammate, Felicia.
Hi everyone, my name is Felicia O'Garo. I'm a front-end web developer who was inspired by the tech innovation here in New York and decided to teach myself how to code. Over the past 6 months, I've been learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and I'm very motivated to continue to learn more. Also in the process, I co-founded Code Crew, a community of designers, entrepreneurs, and developers that have grown to over 1,300 members within 6 months. My curiosity and passion for mobile applications led me to apply to Access Code. The program has given me the opportunity to work with a group of very talented individuals, has challenged me to learn iOS development as well as Objective-C, and also has changed the way that I see mobile apps. After today, I plan to start work on an app or maybe two, and also to continue to learn about iOS development. I'm gonna pass this over to my lovely teammate, Sky Davis. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks to the Queens Coalition.
Hi everyone, I hope you guys are excited to be here. My name is Sky Davis. My background is in writing and rhetoric and graphic design, and I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised in Harlem. Hope someone know? Okay. So my first introduction to code actually happened in 2009 in a writing class, where our final assignment was to create a personal website in which we showcased all of our literary work. Let me let you all know, I had no clue as to what I was doing, like not at all. But by the end of that semester, thanks to Google, I finished the website and actually created with ActionScript 2. It's a programming language. And that experience was what actually sparked my interest in programming, actually building things that worked. So 2 months ago, I graduated from Pratt Institute, where I received my master's degree in communications design. And during my time at Pratt, I actually took serious steps into teaching myself how to code. Right now, I'm currently working on a personal project which deals with finding new ways to teach science, technology, and the art of making things to middle schoolers. My next step, hopefully, is to find a startup also interested in the same thing, EdTech, specifically focused towards middle schoolers. I'd like to thank all my classmates for suffering with me and building really awesome projects, as well as Ben, Jukay, and Dave, Coalition for Queens, Elliot, shout out. And without further ado, I would like to take it over to Anna.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna Coronado. I actually work here in Long Island City as a senior web designer at a tech company called World Now. Digital design is one of my passions, and I've been doing this for a few years. And being a designer, I became really interested in figuring out, the code that brought my designs to life. So I taught myself HTML and CSS, and was wondering which next programming language to take on when my good friend sent me the link for Access Code. So I applied, and I got in, thank God. Very excited about that. And to my surprise, I found out that I actually enjoy code a lot more than I thought I would. I really enjoyed tackling a problem and being very challenging and just solving it, finding that answer. And working collaboratively was really, really fun too. So hopefully in the future, I can transition into a role where I can use both my design and coding skills. And hopefully build some awesome apps. Thank you, Coalition for Queens, Access Code, for helping me discover that. So here's my friend Eric to show you our awesome app.
Thanks, Anna. I'm Eric Romano, and I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I moved to New York about 4 years ago, and I currently live here in Sunnyside, Queens. I've been a systems administrator for over 10 years, including spending 2 years on the corporate infrastructure team at Etsy.com. Through my work, I've gained a great understanding of how web applications work, but after a while, I really didn't want to just work on them anymore. I wanted to build them. So last summer, I started teaching myself how to code. And this past winter, I was a part of Hacker School, a workshop for programmers where I developed my skills in Python and JS. During that time, I've been a member of the vibrant Queens tech community, and I found out about Access Code through the Coalition for Queens Tech Meetup. Through Access Code, I now have the ability to build the apps I've always wanted to make, and I hope to release a game that I've been working on if the App Dev Center ever comes back up. All right, hold me to it. We also had a lot of help from two of our team members who couldn't make it here today. Mr. Sean Dowdy, who we've affectionately nicknamed Prime Rib. He's a web developer from China. He moved to New York about 14 months ago. And he joined Access Code because he wants to make apps for children with developmental disabilities along with his wife. Another member of our team who couldn't make it here was Mr. Chris Piazza, who I call Crispy Bacon. He's a Queens native from Flushing, and he's a co-founder for We Hostels. We Hostels is a mobile app that allows travelers to make budget accommodations. And he joined Access Code because he wants to help the dev team over there, and he wanted to learn about product development. So that's all about the team. So let's hear about ShutterChef. Slide. As some of you know, we were tasked with building a photo app. So we took a look at all the photo apps out there, and we noticed a few things. The first thing that we noticed is that people really like taking pictures of their pets, both good and bad, and we didn't want to get into that mess. The second thing we noticed was people love taking pictures of food. And in fact, people like taking pictures of food more than they do with the selfie. So everyone on our team comes from a different cultural background, and that's something we wanted our app to reflect. So we designed ShutterChef with that in mind. In developing ShutterChef, some of the core functionality we thought would be important would be the ability to take a photo, the ability to search for recipes to link to these photos, and to be able to see what our friends were cooking so we can learn how to make it too. Now I'm going to walk through the app with help of, who's driving? With help of my TA, Venkat, and if it cooperates, this should be pretty quick. So this is our baby, ShutterChef. We integrated Facebook Connect to simplify the login process, and once he logs in with his publicly visible password, he's gonna need delockr after this, guys. Once he logs in, he's gonna come to the photo feed. One of the reasons we used Facebook Connect is it gives you a bit of trust automatically. People are used to seeing Facebook everywhere, and they don't hesitate to use Facebook logins. So now at the main photo feed, we can see what everyone on ShutterChef is making. Lots of good stuff, if it ever... Yeah, that's kind of cool looking, right? Look, these tacos look awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap on Anna, on her name. And from here, I can follow her by tapping on the button on the top right. It's really easy. And back at the main feed, you'll notice there's some icons at the bottom. These huevos, these look pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and like that by tapping on the little utensils. Cute, right? Design team came up with that. And actually, I really like those. So let's go ahead and leave her a comment saying how good that looks. And we'll just tap on the little bubble there and tap out a message, and they'll get this eventually. The internet's working. So we're hit done. You're back at the main feed. Now this looks pretty good, but I really want to know how to make it. So I'll tap on the image, and from here I can see all the ingredients I need to make these huevos. When I'm ready to make it, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a View Recipe button. Eventually, we'll show the button. This is why I got a new phone. Can't do this. Okay. So you see, the recipe is going to load in a built-in web browser, along with all the full text and ads and all the good stuff that comes with the internet, right? Yeah. So if we go back to the main feed, I say that a lot, but it's all about the feed. You got to see what people are making, right? At the top, there's a row of buttons. From here, we can quickly control what kind of pictures we see. We see pictures from everyone. We can quickly see pictures that I've posted or the user has posted. You can see pictures from people you're following, and even just photos that you've liked. All right, that's enough of that photo. So I've made some empanadas, and I want to share my creation with the world. So I'm going to take a new photo by tapping the camera icon on the bottom. And this needs to look good, all right? I need to make my foodie friends real jealous. And we're gonna do this by using some filters they've never even seen. Those are some good. Any Latinos in the house? No? No? More for me, sorry guys. All right. These are 100% hand-coded in Queens, these filters. You can't get them anywhere else, but if you ask nicely, we might be able to cut you a deal. I know who made them. Anyway, once you select a filter, you can search for a recipe to link to your photo by typing a search string into this UI box over here. And it's going to search all of the internet for thousands of recipes and return some results. These recipes actually come from, well, they load. These recipes actually come from the Yumly API, and they aggregate them pretty easy for us. You know, we just have to ask them for the data. And once you tap on a photo, it's going to upload it to the cloud. Right, that's a big word nowadays, right? And the photo's going to show up in the main photo feed, where all of my friends can see it, they can like it or pretend not to. They can leave me snarky comments, or they can see how to make it for themselves. And that's it for ShutterChef, at least for features. So our team learned a lot through building this app. Not only was it were we programming iOS for the first time, for many of us it was a crash course in product development. This meant assembling a ragtag crew of 6 to merge each other's code, manage assets for the project, and even squash bugs, like hundreds of bugs that came up when you develop a project like this. I forgot what I had my spiel, but anyway, it was a lot of work, and we had a lot of help from the Coalition for Queens, and we're very, very proud of this product. And so we really want to do so much more with ShutterChef, but our tight development schedule meant we had to focus on core functionality and a really pretty UI that we knew people would love to use. So for version 2 of ShutterChef, we have a few features planned that we think would really add to the experience. And these features are like the ability to upload recipes, custom recipes, not just recipes from the internet, with multiple photos, the ability to rate photos and recipes right in the app, and the ability to embed these photos on outside social networks like Twitter and Facebook, and of course more filters. We're really excited about launching, and if you want to hear more about our product, please follow us on Facebook. We're at ShutterChef. And if you'd like to register to hear about our launch by email, you can visit us at getshutterchef.com. I'd like to take a minute to thank the Maine Lobster, RTA, Mr. Venkat Rao in the back. His infinite patience at all hours of the night and sage advice really made this possible. There's some things that we broke that I don't know how they got fixed. Eventually I'll go back through and dig through the commits, but it's a bit of work. And I'd like to thank everyone at the Coalition for Queens and of course the Access Code program for giving us this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Team ShutterChef. Next up, we have Team Score. Please give a warm round of applause to Team Score.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lena Jacobs, and we are Team Score. Today, we are thrilled to present to you the first ever demo of the application that we've created. Score, at its core, is a dating app. I graduated a couple of weeks ago from the New York City Lab High School, and ever since I was young, the world of tech has always excited me. This past year, I had an awesome idea for an app. After many failed attempts to find a developer, we all know how hard that is, I attended a workshop hosted by Startup Box South Bronx. There, Lyle Resner advised me to take on the challenge of coding out my app on my own. Walking into the Access Code course, I had very little experience with coding. Now, 2 months later, I'm proud to say that I have a solid foundation around iOS development. Throughout the Access Code course, Throughout the creation of SCORE, I helped to design the user interface and integrate the image assets. I look forward to starting Middlebury College this coming February, applying all of the skills that I have learned throughout Access Code to further explore the world of tech. Now, please welcome the rest of Team SCORE, starting with Kuhan.
Thanks, Lena. Hi, everyone. My name is Kuhan Prismanathan. I'm originally from Malaysia, and I immigrated here to the United States 5 years ago to attend college. I recently graduated with a mechanical engineering degree from UC Berkeley. Thank you. Since college, I've been interested in programming, and I took classes to learn new languages. However, I was particularly interested in mobile application development, so when I heard about Coalition for Queens and their program, Access Code, I made a quick decision to move here from California to take the classes. Now, barely 2 months later, here we are demoing our very first application to you. For me, it's been a very unique and challenging experience. For this particular project, my responsibilities were the profile page and also assisting Eli on developing the chat feature of the application. I was also able to use what I learned in college on new product development, on designing a very user-friendly interface for the app. In the future, I look forward to working in the tech industry, creating and developing many more revolutionary apps. And now to introduce Wei Wei.
Hi everyone, my name is Wei Wei and I was born in China and now I live in Jackson Heights. I am currently working as an administrative clerk at Amtrak. The first time I encountered tech was in high school when I created a website for a computer science class. The website was very simple, but I loved the experience of creating something that worked. That website also ignited my passion for tech. While I was studying for business administration at Baruch College, I took 2 semesters of C++ and also completed an Intro to Ruby class prior to attending Access Code. The completion of this project served as a huge milestone and my transition from the business scene into the exciting world of tech. And throughout the creation of SCORE, I was responsible for coding the leaderboard. And next is Eli Bierman.
Hi, I'm Eli Bierman. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and I recently received my BA in Geography from Hunter College. Over the past several years, I've taught myself front-end web development and written several programs to create and process sound with, like synthesizers and samplers. The programs I wrote weren't able to reach as many people as I had hoped, mainly due to the obscurity of the software I was working with. So I came to Access Code to learn iOS development and reach a wider audience on an accessible mobile tool. I coded the messaging functionality for our app, and it was really exciting to work on this because I got to jump directly into backend integration while building a tool that will reach a lot of people and allow them to reach back to me with their opinions on what I built. There's another member of Team SCORE who unfortunately isn't able to make it here today, Moya El Deeb. He's currently attending a family emergency in Egypt. Moya emigrated from Egypt and moved to the Queensbridge Housing Projects. He recently received his BA from Queens College in Applied Math and was accepted to the Columbia School of Engineering. Moya helped me with the messaging functionality, and it was a pleasure working with him. We're sorry he couldn't be here today, but next I'm going to introduce Michelle.
Thank you, Eli. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Fernandez. I was born in Germany, raised in Seattle, and a couple of years ago I decided to take the big leap, got a one-way ticket to New York to study architecture over at Barnard College. So I initially became interested in tech after working for a local startup, Nihal. I think you actually invested in this one, Sonic Notify. Yes. And there I worked with a team of developers, and I was always intrigued by what they were doing. It looked really cool. They came out with these really awesome products. So that's when I decided I wanted to transition into the tech scene as a developer. So this past spring, I actually finished up a post-bac program over at Columbia in computer science. And I applied to Access Code because I was still trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do in terms of developing, whether it was front-end, back-end, or mobile development. And also little did I know that by applying to Access Code, I would also land my current internship. I was invited to a Coalition for Queens event after interviewing the Queens Tech Meetup, and I met my current boss, Aaron Cohen. And now I'm interning over at Dream Ventures as a full-stack developer. And upon completion of this program, I can now say that I, yes, would like to pursue a career as an iOS developer. And for this project, I helped out with the image asset integration, as well as fixing all the crazy bugs that happened in the end. And so that concludes our introduction for Team Score. And we will now move on to showcasing our app. So at the beginning of this class, our team was assigned to create a standard dating app using the Facebook API. And at that time, we only really knew how to create the basic frameworks of an app and how to build that out. But we knew we kind of wanted to try and go all out in that process. But regardless of our coding skills at the time, we were telling ourselves, oh, let's create a chat function, let's create some ranking systems. And we were pretty much up for that challenge, I think. And beyond the technical aspects, we also wanted to create a unique dating app. So we took a look at all the dating apps out there, such as OkCupid, Tinder, Scout, and even though each one has its own unique selling points, they all had a couple things in common, such as having a liking feature, so telling someone that you're interested in them, having a messaging function, and also having a personal profile. So we included all of these into our app, but we're still looking for that secret sauce. And that's when we came up with the leaderboard. And we think that by having a leaderboard, we're able to tap into the user's vanity and create this drive for competition, making people want to use our app. So to demonstrate this, we'll have Lena demo Score.
Please wait. So first, you log in to Score through Facebook, and this allows Score to access all of your Facebook information. Next, you are greeted with the feed page, which allows you to like or dislike individuals based off of a photo, their name, and age. If two users like each other, a chat will automatically populate between the two users. And here, these two individuals have the opportunity to further their relationship through a more intimate conversation. Thanks. Next, we will move on to the most unique aspect of our app, which is the leaderboard. So the idea for a leaderboard came about when we were searching through a couple of different dating apps for inspiration. Elliot was using my phone as a demonstration and was testing out the invite my friends capability. He clicked on an individual that I was friends with and started to send the invite my friends to Tinder, and I immediately jumped up from my seat and said, no, you can't invite him, he's popular. To which everyone started to laugh and make fun of me and say, high school's over, Lena, popularity doesn't matter anymore. But we then realized that popularity does matter in some senses. People enjoy knowing when they're really cool, or the best, or #1 in this case. So we decided to display the most liked user, the most disliked user, the top liker, so the person that's clicking on the like button the most, and the top disliker, so the individual that's pressing on the dislike button the most. So no matter what you do in our app, whether it's liking or disliking people, it'll affect your status in all 4 categories of the leaderboard. The last section of our app is its profile. Here you can view your name, your photo, where you live, how old you are, in addition to your preference. You can also view how many likes you've received, so you can know your status even if you're not directly on the top 10 list of the leaderboard. So throughout the creation of SCORE, we learned the importance of a chat function. We now fully understand how to integrate a Facebook API, and we now understand all the mechanisms of building out a leaderboard. The creation of SCORE was an entirely collaborative process. We faced many challenges, but we are proud now to say that we love our final product. Now we would like to take this time to say thank you to a couple key individuals. First, we would like to say thank you to Elliot, our teacher, who is not only SCORE's teacher, but was also the direct point person on our team. We would also like to thank all the sponsors and supporters of Access Code and Coalition for Queens. And lastly, we would like to thank Coalition for Queens as a whole. Dave, Ben, and Jukay, in addition to all the TAs, we couldn't have done this without you. Your support meant so much throughout the 2 months of this course. So, thank you very much, and enjoy the night.
All right, great. Well, thank you to Team SCORE. And I think we're so proud of what our students did their demos. They did this learning how to build an iPhone app for the first time in just 10 weeks. These apps are vehicles for learning, and it's the start of their process in becoming developers. So please give them a warm round of applause for all the teams and all the students here tonight. Now, we're approaching the end of the evening, and we're honored that Congressman Joe Crowley is here to join us and provide some closing remarks. Now, Congressman Crowley, he represents the 14th district here in New York, which is much of Queens and a little bit of the Bronx. He's a native of Woodside, a graduate of Queens College, and has been in Congress serving the Bronx and Queens since 1998. He's also the head of the Queens County Democratic Party and is the vice chair of the Democratic Caucus in Queens. And he's been, just such a tremendous supporter of the things that we do. And, I'm personally really appreciative that he's taken his time to come out here tonight. He's working on a lot more important things. This weekend, he invited his congressional delegation to come here to Queens, to Jackson Heights, about immigration reform, and see really the culture and the rich diversity of immigration and the need for reform here in, for congressional leaders across the country. Please give him, but he's taking the time to come here to speak to you guys, to meet the students. There's 7 students in the class that actually are in his district from both Queens and the Bronx. Please give him a warm welcome and a round of applause, Congressman Joe Crowley.
Thanks, Jukay. I like that step. It's a crate. I'll see that. Well, I'm very pleased to be here tonight. Jukay, thank you very much for all that the coalition is doing. Queens is where it's at, and you're all a part of the present and the future of Queens County. I have to comment, one on Lita Jacobs. Where is she, Lita? So I love that line where Lita said when she's making a presentation, ever since I was young. She's friggin' 18 years old. You're gonna be young for the next 30 years. I'm like, I thought it was a great line. It's like, she's going to Middlebury College, great school. My nephew went there, awesome school. I forgot what I was going to say. But thinking of apps, Jimmy Van Bramer and I, this local city council was saying what you need to develop is an app for elected officials. When they want to do something that's really stupid, their mobile device should fall apart. I can get away with that, Jukay. I could say that. I had more to say, but the media's here, so I won't go into it. But you're all a part of what's happening here in Queens and in our city. And there's someone from San Francisco that's now in Queens. Who's from San Francisco? Yeah, that was really cool. San Francisco's here in New York. I've been out to San Fran a few times. Great city. And what the tech industry has done to that part of the country is nothing short but miraculous. And I'm really happy that that's happening here in Queens. I asked Jukay, is anything like this happening anywhere else in the country that you can think of? And he really didn't think there was anywhere else it was happening. And that's, at least not tonight, this Monday evening. But it's a really neat thing that's happening here. And especially the fact that just about everyone who got up doesn't look like a 51-year-old, balding, but very good-looking 6'4" guy. And that's what's really neat about what you're all a part of and what the uniqueness of Queens County has to offer, that richness and diversity. That's really one of our tremendous strengths, if not our greatest strength here in Queens. I'm proud of the work that the mayor has done, and the Cornell and the high-tech incubator that's going to be here in Roosevelt Island. Queens County is going to benefit from that. The Coalition for Queens is at the forefront of all this, and you're making this happen in so many different ways. The last thing I just want to say is, I have this wicked great app idea, and I'd like to tell you all about it, but I have to kill everybody if I tell you, because it's so good. No, really, it's going to make me rich. I mean, it's going to make us all rich if we know how to play this right. We'll talk. Jukay, we'll talk about this. Before somebody else gets it, I got to talk about it. But thanks for having me here tonight. And I know Jim Van Bramer, our local city councilman, is here. And Jukay, is it okay if we have him come on up and... Jimmy's also in the forefront, chairs the Arts and Culture Committee in the City Council, is a great friend, and he's also largely responsible for the growth here in Queens County as well. Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman Crowley. Let's give him a big round of applause. When Congressman Crowley said also, I thought he was going to say also very good looking, but not 6'4", clearly. I just want to say how proud I am to be a member of the City Council. Obviously, Karen Koslowitz, the chair of our Economic Development Committee, was here earlier, and all of you know that this program was funded through the New York City Council and our speaker, Christine Quinn. So I'm enormously grateful for her leadership, and all of us should give her a big round of applause in absentia. As you know, she's running for mayor of the city of New York, and spends far less time tweeting and texting people than some other candidates in the race for mayor of the city of New York. It's the only joke I'll make about that situation. I do want to say how proud I am. I represent Long Island City, Queens. It's great to have the Coalition for Queens and Jukay doing this amazing work and the networking. It was great to hear all the stories of people telling how they met at one of the meetups and all of those meetings, and then they got jobs and they met other people, and it was really, really cool. So that's really turning into a job training program, which is great. And just because SCORE was last, I too have a comment about SCORE. The fact that you're going to list the least popular people on your app, someone is wicked mean on your team. Seriously, clearly you. That's just vicious, isn't it? I mean, it's bad enough that they're not going to score, but you're going to advertise it to the whole world that they're big losers, right? I mean, that's just wrong. Anyway, and then the person who likes the most is also going to be there. And I read that as most desperate, right? Because if you're clearly liking every single person, just hoping that someone likes you back, that's just pathetic, right? So, but seriously, I'm thrilled to be here. It's great. It's so exciting. All the enthusiasm that's in the room is just really, really infectious. So congratulations to the 4 teams. All of you did such a great job. Congratulations, Jukay, the Coalition for Queens, all the partners. And again, just so grateful to be a member of the New York City Council that has a leader smart enough to fund programs like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Van Bramer. Thank you for your support and leading and making Long Island City and Queens a future tech community. So you've seen all these great demos, and we really want to congratulate our students for creating their first demos and their first apps and starting the next part of their journey. I also want to thank our speaker tonight, Nihal Mehta, for giving a great talk about entrepreneurship and the perseverance in mobile app development. Thank you to CME for hosting us here tonight. Thank you to Congressmembers Joe Crowley and Grace Meng, our City Council supporters, Karen Koslowitz, Councilmember Van Bramer, Also, of course, our sponsor, City Council Speaker Christine Quinch, without which this would not be possible. Please give her a round of applause and all our sponsors and supporters that made this program possible tonight. Now, this is the inaugural Access Code program, and we think that these students, these individuals, and their apps show the transformative potential of accessible tech education. Now, you've seen their demos, but this is just the beginning of their careers in tech. After today, the second half of our program are going to begin, and they're going to take their newfound skills and apply them in jobs, internships, and startup projects. So I know there's some great companies looking to hire, and you know, if you know of any opportunities, please welcome them into your community as well, with your tech community, and help our program and our students, you know, on the next path of their careers. For us, you know, I learned and our team learned an incredible amount during this process, and we want to continue to grow Access Code. We want to offer even more students the opportunity to get this great education. We want to provide full scholarships to everyone in the future so that there are no obstacles to learning how to do these things and getting great jobs. So, and unfortunately, even during the course of this program, there are some students that couldn't join because of financial constraints. So if you believe that everyone should have an opportunity to gain these skills, I hope you'll consider supporting our work and supporting Coalition for Queens. I hope you visit, a shameless plug, visit our website, consider donating to the work of our nonprofit, get involved with our organization, or speak to us to sponsor a future event or program. You can speak to myself, Ben, Dave, or anyone in the green shirts who's working on our team. And last, you know, every team tonight, you've seen their products demoed up here, but you should really interact with the person and meet the students in person. In the back, there are 4 stations for one each team where you can actually see their projects and demos. I hope you'll stay for the end of the reception and meet our Access Code students in person. Thank you all very much again for coming, and have a great night.